everyone, my name's Annette, and you might know me on social media as Nettersplays. Well, today I ran a poll on Twitter and I asked, which game do you want me to make a video about? So I gave you some options. The options were Terraforming Mars, Mystic Vale, there was also Lotus, and Gigapolis. And the race was really close between Terraforming Mars and Gigapolis. And I was really surprised that it was so close that they almost tied. But the weirdest thing about this was the fact that Terraforming Mars is a really new game. There's a lot of information about it. It's really hot right now. A lot of people really enjoy it. And also, Gigapolis is a fairly old game. It's out of print. It's really hard to come by, yet still people really like it. So in the end, Terraforming Mars won the whole poll. So today I'm going to go ahead and present to you Terraforming Mars, give you a general overview, and at the end of the video I'm going to give you my review and my final thoughts of the game and what I liked or maybe not liked about this game. So let's get to it. Coming to Mars was a big step. Making it habitable will give us a new world. That is Terraforming Mars. So what is going on in the future is that pretty much Earth is becoming overpopulated and there's limited amount of resources. We need to figure out a new way to survive. So the world government has proposed a terraforming committee, and it's made up of all these different corporations. That's us players. And what we're gonna do is go to Mars and make it habitable for human beings. In order to make it habitable for human beings, we have to create oxygen. We also have to make it a little bit hotter for us to live on, and we also have to create oceans. There needs to be water. With those three things, we can go ahead and live on Mars. So now I'm going to go over my final thoughts of Terraforming Mars. I'm going to pretty much tell you the things that I liked, or maybe even the things that I didn't like about this game. So I'm going to talk to you about the artwork and the components in the game. Now, this game comes with well over 200 cards. All the artwork on these cards, they're all different from one another. They're all unique. And also these metal and plastic components right here, along with a whole bunch of tiles and the player boards and the board. So the artwork on the cards, I really enjoy it. Some of them are photographs, some of them are drawings. I really like it a lot. And so I think it's really thematic with the game. There's asteroids on these cards. For example, this big, huge asteroid right here. You can see it just flaying itself into Mars. And then you have these metallic tokens, which, I mean, instead of wooden cubes, they're metallic. They look like alloys or something that you gather around for Mars or something like that. It's really cool and neat. Also, you got the individual player plastic pieces that are really nice to handle, because you're using a lot of these cubes just all over the board and on your player board. Which brings me to the player board, which is my real big gripe of the components in this game. Simply because this player board is really thin and the surface is really smooth. So whenever you put your little pieces on this, they're easily going to be pushed around if you're just a klutz like me. So yeah, that's my really big gripe about this component piece. It's just, it would have been better if it would have been cardboard or not as smooth or something, but that kind of initiated all these other people to kind of create these acrylic overlays that you can put on top of. So at least that's really cool. It's something that's a little bit expensive, but if you want to fix this, you can easily do so too. So the game length kind of goes hand in hand with the player count and scalability. So this game plays between 1 and 5 players. Now I've played it with all player counts, but I haven't played it with 3 players yet. But I first started it with 2 players, and I really enjoyed it at first. I thought it was really a good way to learn the game and teach someone else. And I've also played it with 5 players. And I thought with 5 players it was a little bit too much. It was a little too long. It kind of overwhelmed its stay. Because it was just taking too long, but everyone was really enjoying it, at least. When I played it with 4 players, that's when I realized that that's where the game is at. So at 4 player counts, that's where a lot of the board becomes filled up. There's a lot more people just moving here and there and kind of trying to take up space, and they're also playing cards that are against you or others, and so it becomes a little bit more engaging. I really enjoyed it with 4 players. It also has a solo play. You can play this game by yourself, and I think that's a really great way to actually learn the game and teach yourself the good strategy and what to do and what not to do and how to play a better game. And did I enjoy it with a solo play? Well, I really did enjoy it with a solo play. I think if you have this game and if you don't have anyone to play with, but you want to just learn the cards, you want to learn a better strategy, this game itself has a really good solo play. So if not for the amount of players, if you don't have a lot of people to play with, but if you only have 1 or 2 players, this game works equally as well too. So now let's talk about the strategy in Terraforming Mars. What I've learned that does work and the things that I've learned that doesn't work. Now, this is either for myself or for other players that I've noticed, but let's get into the strategy of the whole game. Now, one of the things that I did notice is that once you become a little bit better at this game and you start getting these corporation cards, these are the starter cards that people are going to pick, either by drafting or randomly choosing or whatever. But when you do get one of these, it's really important that you follow the strategy. You follow what this is guiding you. So if you get the eco line, for example, this corporation is pretty much telling you that you're going to build a lot of greeneries on this map, simply because your production rate is high, you have plants already in use, and also your production rate, your effect, is going to let you do this greenery production a lot faster than the other players. So why not take advantage of this? So definitely follow the guidance of these corporation cards when you're playing the game. So that should also lead to the production rate of plants and heat. So these 2 things right here are very important in the game. You're going to have to really produce a lot of plants or a lot of heat. It's an either or type thing. If your corporation is already producing plants, then make sure you increase that, because that's how you're going to have the higher advantage over your other players. You also want to get a few productions of the other ones, but don't focus too much on both, just mainly on one, and just try to upgrade the other one a little bit. So I found that a lot of people have tried to do both of them, and they kind of fail at doing that because they're not producing as fast as they should have in a different region. Another thing that I've noticed too is that you should definitely try to produce as much mega credits as possible, because credits are very important in this game. Credits are pretty much going to buy you the cards. They're also going to let you play into the cards. They're also going to let you buy the whatever's on the board as far as the milestones, the awards. You need money for everything. Currency is very important. If you have a low production rate of your currency, of your mega credits, you're not going to do as well as the other players are. And so that kind of leads me to the other thing too. So cards. Cards are very important. You're going to have a whole bunch of cards that you're going to be drawing when you do research. You draw 4 at a time. And out of these 4, you're going to decide which one you're going to keep. But keeping in mind that you're going to have to pay 3 mega credits every time you pick one and keep it in your hand. So one problem that I found too is that a player that I played with, he had a lot of mega credits. And he decided just to keep every single card that he was in because he could afford it. But then he started realizing that he had way too many cards. He was in way over his head, and he couldn't just play the right cards and do the right combinations because it was just a bit too much. So what I would suggest is just mainly focusing on the cards that you really need, that are really going to be in sort of symbiosis with these kind of corporation cards. So you want it to flow together. These cards, you're going to draw them. They're going to be a whole bunch of different cards. They're all going to work for you, and a lot of them aren't going to work for you. There's no reason to keep an abundance of cards when you don't need them. So it's okay to just not even keep any cards when you do any research. Just focus on what you really want to play on that turn. If you can't buy them, just go ahead and play with what you have. Another really important thing that you should definitely do is focus on building at least a few cities on the board. You need those cities. Now, I've played this game where I focused a lot on the cards and my production, and I made a lot of greenery. but also I wasn't making a lot of cities. And the cities are really important because if your opponents are making cities while you're making greenery, well, you're giving them points too. So it's really important that you have your cities down. And that was a really bad mistake, and I learned from it. And so definitely try to do that when you play this game. I also wanted to go over the difficulty and learning of Terraforming Mars. Now, I've taught this game well over 5 times, I think, and so every time that I teach it, of course it gets easier, but I don't have too much to explain. I mean, I teach the general, like, you know, what to do with the player boards, what it all means, the iconography, what you can and can't do, and this rule book right here makes it great. This is a really great rule book. I found that it's really clear, it's really easy to pick up. I mean, there's 15 pages, but it's not that bad. There's only a certain amount of actions that you can do. Everyone's doing the same thing you're doing. It's easy to follow through. You know, the cards themselves, when you're learning this game, it's really easy to learn because even if you're new to the game and you're trying to figure out, you know, when you're doing research, which cards to keep, it tells you on the card exactly what you can use this card for. So if you have any questions, this card's going to tell you exactly what to do and how to use it. So I think the learning curve of this game is just it's really easy to follow and understand. And after a couple of rounds, maybe 2 or 3 rounds, you're going to pretty much understand what to do and how to play this game. Now, the difficulty of this game is a little different because I wouldn't suggest this game necessarily for someone that is really getting into the hobby, like a gateway game, you know, someone that has no idea what a board game is. This probably is a little too much for them. But once you're done looking for something a little different, a little bit more meatier than, say, for example, Ticket to Ride or another gateway game, you're looking for something a little different with a little bit more meat. Has theme is Eurogamey, where you're building resources and kind of turning them in and playing tiles. It's got all of that. So I think it's the next level beyond gateway level. Next, I wanted to talk to you about the replayability of the game. Are you going to be able to play this game well over, like, say, 5 times or even 10 times? So every time that I've played this game, this board has been different. So Mars is developed in quite a different ways because you're playing tiles onto the board, whether they're cities or they're oceans or special tiles or such. They're always different. This board is just always different from the previous board that I played. Another thing that makes it different are the cards themselves. There's well over 200 cards in the game, and they're all unique. So every time you're drawing these cards, they're all different. I still don't think that I've seen every single card in the game. Another thing that makes it different and unique every time you play it are these corporation cards, because you can always start with a different corporation than you played last time. So I think this game is going to last you well beyond 10 plays. So it's a game that you can invest into and you know you're going to get a lot of game out of it. So next I wanted to talk to you about the interactiveness between players and the tension that's involved with it. So this board is really important because this is where a lot of players are going to interact. This is the major game board. A lot of players are going to put their own tiles and claim them, and they're trying to claim territory. It's an area control. And so you're trying to claim different parts in order to score more points than your opponents, of course. But that makes it very tense because there's a limited amount of area and space on Mars that you can claim. Another thing too is that these parameters right here, these global parameters, once they're reached, well, it's going to be the end of the game. But every time you push it forward, you get a point. So there's an incentive to push this game along because you're going to score points throughout the game. And that creates an interactiveness between players because you're all working together to move this game forward and to end the game eventually. However, it makes it really tense because you know if you're pushing it forward by moving those global parameters, well, you're going to be scoring those points. And so are your opponents. And you don't want to end the game at a very low value of points. You have to make sure you have enough points to end up in the game with a high score. So you have to do different types of things and not just rely on these global parameters, but you also have to rely on the cards for points. You also have to rely on the awards and milestones for points too, because that's going to score you a lot as well. So there's always just a push and pull with other players in this game where you're trying to compete for certain parameters, you're trying to compete for certain area and territory, as well as these other cards, the event cards. These event cards are really destructive. I mean, they could be really good for you, but they'll really destroy your opponents. Because, for example, when the big asteroid is set off, well, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff, like increasing the temperature. But you get to take away all these different plants from your opponents. So that's another way to create the interactiveness between players, whether it's good or whether it's bad. So after playing my first game of Terraforming Mars, I asked myself, did I have fun? What made this game fun and enjoyable? And the answer is the cards themselves. All these cards are just, they're fun. They make the game fun. How so? For example, this card right here. When I played this game with this card, every time a city was built, I had a puppy. So I filled the whole planet with puppies by the end of the game, and it was just silly. So you can play along with the theme, and you can just go ahead and play all these different cards. It has flavor text on the bottom. So for example, this big asteroid that someone might set off as an event, well, it has flavor text on the bottom that says, there are many unpopulated areas to crash it in. So that's just a jerk card right there. But, I mean, you can really play around with it and just have a lot of fun with this game and just really have fun with these cards too, and just make up stories of how your corporation is growing and the types of cards that you're playing with other players too. You can just elaborate and just be silly with it too. So in the end, did I like Terraforming Mars? What do I think? Is it a game worth keeping? Is it a game worth buying? What do I think? Now, I think that Terraforming Mars is a game you should definitely get. This game itself is just amazing. I haven't played a game where I played it once the first time and I instantly wanted to play it again. I didn't care if it lasted like 3 hours the first time I played it because I really wanted to pick it up again. Now, since then, and I've only had it for like less than a month, but I've played it so many times already. I've taught it to so many different people, and every single person I've taught it to has enjoyed it as well. So that being said, I think Terraforming Mars is probably one of the best games this year itself. So if you ever get a chance, you should definitely pick this game up. Well, thanks so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Also, if you want to leave us some comments below, you can go ahead and do so. Just let me know some further strategy tips or some other games that I should review too. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm also part of Meeples Included and also a part of the Insta Gamers Network. So all the information is down below where you can follow that too. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!